YouTube friends! If you use OBS plugins, you already know the pain. A plugin breaks after an OBS update, something fails to load, and you end up digging through zip files and random folders trying to figure out what went wrong. OBS now has a built-in plugin manager, which sounds like the answer, but there are also third-party plugin tools that promise easier installs and faster updates. So the real question is OBS's built-in plugin manager finally enough, or do you still need a third-party tool? In this video, I'm going to compare both, show you how they work, and point out the pros and cons and tell you which one actually makes the most sense depending upon how you use OBS. So you know what? Let's get to it! Before we jump in, these are not the same kind of tool. The built-in OBS plugin manager is part of OBS itself. The third-party option is more of an installer and an updater workflow. Now that difference matters a lot because one is focused on management and troubleshooting, and the other is focused on convenience. Now there is a link down below in the description to the third-party plugin if you want to check it out for yourself, but let's dive in and see what these look like. Let's start with OBS's built-in plugin manager. If you're on OBS 32 or newer, it's already included. No extra install, no extra download, just update OBS and you have it. You're going to find it under Tools, Plugin Manager. Now what it really does well is show you what OBS sees as installed and let you enable or disable plugins more safely. And honestly, this is where the built-in manager is actually valuable. If OBS starts crashing after an update, if a plugin fails to load, or if you're just not sure which plugin is causing the problems, this gives you a central place to disable things and test cleanly instead of manually ripping files out of plugin folders and all that sort of stuff. The downside is this is not really a full plugin store, at least not yet. Based on OBS's own UI and development work, it looks like the long-term idea includes browsing and updates, but right now, the built-in manager is still mainly just a management panel. So that means it's great for troubleshooting, it's good for visibility, it's useful for enabling and disabling plugins, but it's not amazing for discovery. In fact, it doesn't do it at all. And it's not amazing for one-click installs or updating workflows, because it doesn't do that either. And this lines up with what users are saying. A lot of people like it because it makes troubleshooting easier. But I also found forum posts from people who were confused because they saw the plugin listed in the manager and assumed that meant the manager is where you use the plugin. That's just not how it works. The plugin manager tells you whether the plugin is installed and active. That's it. It doesn't replace the plugin's actual controls, which could live in a dock, a filter menu, a source type, transitions, tools, maybe even settings, pretty much anywhere. So if you install something like the Move, seeing it in the plugin manager doesn't mean the features show up there. It means OBS recognizes that the plugin is installed. And the biggest bummer to me is that you can deactivate plugins, but you can't outright uninstall them from here. And boy, that would really help. But unfortunately, you gotta figure that out on your own. Now let's talk about the third-party plugin. Now that one's called Stream Up Plugin Installer, and we're using version 2. Now this is where things get more convenience focused. The appeal is obvious. Browse supported plugins, install them with less manual file juggling, update plugins a lot faster, and spend less time digging through plugin releases and zip files. At least that's the theory. Now, no one is excited about a plugin's state management, but they sure want an easier way to install and update plugins without breaking OBS. And that's the real value proposition here. But this convenience comes with trade-offs. The biggest one is coverage. One of the most common user problems was that the plugin they were looking for just wasn't found in the list. And now it tells you right away that the tool is only as useful as its catalog, or however it's being updated. I also saw users asking for uninstall support, plugin descriptions in the app, better support for Mac, more clarity on what each plugin actually does before installing it. Now this means you pretty much still have to go to the plugin page to see what it does. And for beginners especially, the hard part is not always installing the plugin. Sometimes it's just figuring out whether the plugin is even worth installing in the first place. So the third-party manager wins on convenience, but it also introduces a dependency. The app has to keep working, downloads have to stay available, the platform support has to be there. The plugin list has to stay current, i.e. the plugin creators have to continue to update it, or it's just going to be a bunch of old plugins in it. So side by side, here's the simplest way to think about it. OBS built-in plugin manager. It's official, it's already inside OBS, and it's totally free. It's safer and more trustworthy by default, and it's best for troubleshooting. It's best for enabling and disabling plugins, but it's a lot weaker for discovery and updates. Now the third-party plugin manager is much better for install experience because it does it for you. It's better for update convenience because, again, it just does that for you. It's better for people who hate manual plugin setups, and I totally get that. But it's a lot more dependent on the third-party ecosystem, so coverage could be incomplete, and the uninstall, manual add, cross-platform support can vary. So if it doesn't recognize the plugin, too bad for you. So which one of these should you use? Now that seems pretty simple to me. If your main goal is just stability and troubleshooting, the built-in OBS plugin manager is a much better tool for this purpose. It's official, it's built into OBS, and it does the one thing creators consistently need after a big OBS update: help isolating the broken plugins. Now, if your main goal is convenience, especially for installing and updating supported plugins faster, the third-party tool is probably still the more attractive option. But for most creators, the real answer is not either or, it's probably both. You use the third-party tool when you want to easier install and update any of your plugins. You use the built-in OBS plugin manager when you need visibility, control, and troubleshooting inside of OBS. And that's really the key takeaway here. These plugin managers do a completely different thing. The built-in manager is finally useful, but it still doesn't fully replace the convenience and layering of the third-party plugin installers and updaters. It's really nice for OBS to put in a plugin manager, but really what it is just a tool that you can use to try to figure out why OBS crashes or what plugins are just not working right. It would be really nice if it had some sort of version control which would tell you if you're outdated, the ability to actually install those plugins if they are outdated, and especially the ability to delete those plugins. That's something that I'd really like to see in the OBS plugin manager. Now for the third-party plugin, I kind of have the same complaints as everybody else. If every plugin's not listed there, then there could be ones that you might love or it might really help you do something, but they're just not there. And secondly, even if they are there, there's no summary telling you what the plugin actually does. Wouldn't it be absolutely awesome if they would just summarize the plugin page to tell you what the plugin does, and then you could just search through 100 and some plugins, find the ones you need or the ones that sound interesting, put them on there and check them out. I mean, that's supposed to be the convenience that this offers, and unfortunately it comes really close, but doesn't go quite far enough. But that's just my opinion. What do you think? Let me know about it down in the comments. Now, if you're looking for some really awesome plugins that I never stream without, you should check this video out. And if you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks to help make you a better live streamer or YouTuber, subscribe to the channel. My name is Michael Fire Jr. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.